Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The agenda is approved. We have one counselor remote this evening. Moving on to number 2, presentations, proclamations, and visitors. I have one person signed up to speak. Craig, I'm gonna pronounce your last name wrong. If you can come to the dais and state your name and the street that you live on. You have 5 minutes. It doesn't necessarily mean we'll engage in a back and forth conversation.
Written as well.
But we will hear what you have to say.
Okay. Mayor Seja, Council President Cox, and council members. For the record, my name is Craig Pettinger. I live at 520 North 8th Street. We've owned this house for about 23 years. We chose to live in this great community for many reasons. I recently submitted a type A permit to the city of Aumsville for an accessory structure. I purchased a new prefabricated metal structure that was manufactured in late 2024. The structure is 20 feet by 8 feet for a total of 160 square feet. Structure is 8 foot 6 inches tall. I had the structure delivered and placed in the back corner of my lot, and it's over 3 feet away from all property lines. According to the type paper permit and frequently asked questions on the city website, the 3 criteria for an accessory structure are less than 200 square feet, less than 10 feet tall, and a minimum of 3 feet from property lines. I talked with both of my neighbors near the corner of the lot that the accessory structure is placed on before ordering it. Both of them told me they liked the idea. I try very hard to be a good neighbor. Following a request from Public Works for an inspection, I take time off work and schedule a meeting for Friday, May 2nd with Public Works to have them come see the structure and ensure I'd met the property line setbacks. To my surprise, I was told during the discussion that I will need to remove or alter the building because the city does not like the way that it looks. This said the permit would not be finalized until I changed the appearance of the structure or removed it. It was prescribed that I needed to have wood siding and a roof like a tough shed. I pointed out to the Public Works gentleman that the 3 neighboring lots next to mine all have metal sided accessory structures. And I told the gentleman that I disagreed with his opinion. We finished our discussion, and I'll say our interaction was very professional. Thank you, Matt. Late afternoon, Friday, May 2nd, I received an email from Public Works. Interesting part is that subject line on the email was permit approved. But then I read into the body of the email and it stated all the changes that they felt I needed to make to the structure and added that I could be fined up to $1,000 a day if the building was not removed or modified. I responded to Public Works email on Tuesday, May 6th, and stated that I read the entire 198-page Aumsville Development Ordinance number 705, as well as the nuisance ordinance 686. I still feel my accessory structure meets all the requirements, and I do not believe I should be levied humongous fines, and the permit should be approved. Well, Public Works emailed me back within a few hours and restated their opinion regarding the modifications and changed the way my structure looks. To me, it really makes no sense to drill into a freshly painted metal to try and hang wood siding or add a roof to an already watertight roof. Several of my neighbors, as I've stated, have metal buildings currently on their lots. I can find nothing in the Aumsville Development Code or the city website that speaks to what I'm being asked to do. In an effort to gain some understanding, I walked around a few streets in town and looked at all the various different buildings, RV roofs, carports, permanent, temporary. The things I saw were not surprising. Lots of metal buildings, even a few the exact same size and shape as mine, only painted a different color. So in my day job, one of the duties that I have to do, unfortunately, is citing individuals breaking the law to court to see a judge. When I cite these individuals, I have to clearly state the ORS, the Oregon Revised Statute, and potentially the OAR, Oregon Administrative Rule, that they've failed to follow. Without this documentation, the judge will throw the case out. I've asked specifically what part of the Aumsville Development Ordinance I have not met. The answer several times thus far simply is it does not meet code. I don't know what I can do to make the city happy and not have to spend or get fined a pile of money. I am asking the city and the city council to enforce the current development ordinance and not the personal opinion of city employees. I will see the rest of my time unless there's questions.
And just for the record, Craig did send me a photo of the structure in question. We can discuss at a later time. Moving on to, is there anyone online? No, just Scott, okay. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. Moving on to public hearings. There are no public hearings this evening. Moving on to old business. There is no old business.
Mayor, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Could we just revisit the public comment?
Yes.
I would just like to get some direction from council. We feel like we're following the code, but I would just like to make sure council does not interpret a container to be a shed, which is how we've interpreted it. The permit was issued for a shed. We issue the permit based on the application, and then we finalize the permit. But just so that I know, my staff know that we're consistent, we'd just like to get feedback from council if they feel like that's consistent with their intent, or if their intent is something other than that, we'd like to engage with the property owner.
I was going to circle back around to this under good of the order, but that's fine. The pictures that were received were indeed a shipping container. And having read the code, like it doesn't necessarily say that a shipping container is prohibited.
The code isn't a code in any city isn't written like that, because we certainly could not imagine everything that somebody could reinterpret. We interpret a shed as a constructed building for the purpose of built for the purpose of storing items. In this particular case, our interpretation is that the shipping container was built for another purpose, and just renaming it shed could open the door. And that was really why I was asking for the clarification. So that's just the way all codes are written. Otherwise, the code would be 10,000 pages if we were trying to imagine how anybody would interpret everything to be different. But just renaming something different that was purposed would not necessarily make it approvable. However, if council felt that a shipping container was acceptable as a substitute shed, that's how we would interpret the code.
I do want to go back that we did have an issue with a shipping container within city limits before, and that was at the property over here at Lucky U, and they were told, were directed to apply for a variance and to work with you. But ultimately, the decision by the council was to have that removed because, so I guess what really comes before the council is, do we want to interpret the code to allow the shipping container? In my opinion, a shipping container is not a storage unit. It can be used for storage. But if we did that, I think that we would also really need to define terms within the code because shipping containers can be cut down to certain sizes. Do we want that in, I mean, do we want to have modifications to that? I mean, it's a big decision. So it's open for discussion right now. I am interested to hear everyone's input.
I thought we had an accessory structures that they had to match the building.
Only if it's over
And-
200 square feet, under 200 square feet, we don't make them match the house.
Right.
However, our vision plan and our design guidelines, we wrote the code with the intent of somebody creating a shed when they apply for a shed. Now, they can apply for an accessory structure, can be a lot of different things, but typically when they say that, they describe what they're applying for. As an example, somebody could want to build a chicken coop. That's not a shed. So they would say, I'm building a chicken coop, and then we'd ask for designs. In this particular case, I think the Public Works just assumed said shed, that they were just replacing the old shed with a new shed. From our perspective, it's really just making sure that we're implementing the intent of the council. It's really up to you to tell us how you want us to apply that moving forward. The mayor is correct. In the past, we've had people that have tried to use shipping containers before. We have said, no, we've enforced those. We thought we changed the code because we took out language that said other structures. We just simply said shed and accessory structures, feeling like that would narrow it down to a description. But if you're thinking something different, that's how we'll interpret it.
I went and looked at it and I talked to Craig on the phone. I got the email. I'll be honest. I pictured something different in my head when I got your email. And then it turned out to be a shipping container. I know it's popular. People are using them. They're watertight. I hate to have rules for what's behind fences. I mean, unless they have a circus tent and trapeze going on in the backyard, I hate to micromanage somebody's backyard behind a gate. That's my take on it, but if it's not bothering anybody, it's behind a fence, it's behind a gate, it's not super tall. You said it's 10 foot tall. It doesn't look like it when you drive by. You can, 8.5 feet tall. So it's just above the fence line.
Yeah, I would want to see the pictures and read the code myself. What is the definition? What does the code say is the definition of a shed?
Well, it says a constructed structure for the purpose of storage.
It does say constructed.
But
Yeah.
when you start,
What's that mean? I mean, it was constructed somewhere.
well,
It wasn't on-site.
that's the intent of what is your intent. The intent of the council when we wrote that was somebody would either buy a ready-made shed or they would construct a shed.
And that's what we discussed during our meetings leading up to that.
And that, I believe when we talked about constructed, right, we were talking about like anything is constructed. Cars are constructed, right? I mean, you think about it, it's just offsite. What we were talking about one of the issues that happened with that large shipping container at the coffee shop is that back then, it was a different council. Back then, the council decided that did not meet the interpretation of what a storage shed is. So we have a new council now.
It's also in the commercial district and they're stricter
Yeah,
on
they're
the
stricter
rules. of
It's out in the
what
open.
can-
It's just not a main drag. Yeah.
Do you have the pictures, Angie?
I do, I can send them.
I have some right there.
Um,
You have pictures of it?
How does that, how does that work, Ron? When you sit down there and talk, the people, it's because it's a recorded meeting, so no, not right now. No, not right now. Yeah, so just so you know, when people in the audience talk to the council, it's not picked up on the mic and then,
No.
yeah. Ron, how does that work to share a picture when we're in a public meeting? Can I send it to you and you display it on, share it?
I mean, it would have been nice to have the pictures in advance.
You could picture it in your head. It's just a standard shipping.
I can look
container
at
with
it
the two
later.
metal
I mean,
doors
we're
on
not
the front.
deciding tonight, so
Yeah,
I want to review the,
I can send it and have it sent out and just
What-
forward the,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, and then Walter, what were you gonna say? You said,
Say that one was right out in the open, that
Mhm.
everybody that came into town saw two shipping containers behind the building. You know, I'm a little torn because I agree, if it's behind your fence in your backyard, you know, I pay that mortgage, I want what I want in my backyard. But all the neighbors around me pay a mortgage too. Gotta think about everybody, so.
Scott, do you have anything to add? I know you're online.
Well, my opinion is that he's already gotten approval from his neighbors and it's not a sore eye to the community, then it should be allowed.
Katie?
Well, my thinking was that it would be just barely over the fence line. As spoken with his neighbors. It is a storage container. It's just not a storage shed.
Can we,
I would like to see.
Yeah, I would like to
Ron,
see
is
it,
it
yeah.
possible to set something up to work with him so he's in compliance until we can provide pictures for the,
I think how I would proceed is we just wouldn't do an enforcement. The permit would not be finalized. If council made a determination that a shipping container could be used as an accessory storage unit, which is how we would describe it on the permit, then what I would have him do is reapply for a shipping container, not a shed.
Mhm.
And that would keep the record clean. My concern would be setting some precedent where people could create some interpretation of whatever they wanted to do to get around the code. And that's certainly
So
not
my-
something that we
my
would want.
suggestion is that it sounds like half the council is okay with it, but the other half would like to see the pictures and read the code. So can we circle back to this to allow the other part of the council to see the pictures and have them read the code?
I think we will just put it on hold until it gets back to the next
Okay.
council meeting.
And if anything, we should look at our definition of a shed, because I don't know that that is a solid enough definition.
Okay,
Well, a shed has a definition. I could put, something in my front yard, a truck to get out of the no parking in your front yard and call it a planter box, but it's still a truck, even though I might be able to put plants in the back. And so the code is the code. It's plain text. It's not open to somebody changing it how they want it to read. But that doesn't mean you can't say that this would be an acceptable substitute. If you, as a council sitting there today, said that, then we wouldn't change the code. But we would approve those if they came in.
Yeah, I think we should have more discussion and look.
okay, so can we circle back to this to the next meeting and provide those pictures to the council and the code? All right,
It was 520 North 8th Street, is that correct?
okay, so moving
Just send me your pictures.
on to old business. We have no old business tonight. New business, number 6, Public Works Design Standards updates to PWDS.
Matt Etzel, Assistant Public Works Director. Before you guys is an update to the Public Works Design Standards. There's no major changes. This document, every year, West Tech reviews it for any changes in Oregon law that may affect our Public Works Design Standards. And they'll go ahead and make those changes at the same time. as us and other cities that have similar design standards, talk to West Tech about, hey, maybe this paragraph should be under in section 2 instead of section 1. We were looking at for sidewalks and or a driveway approach, but it wasn't under sidewalks and it's connected to the sidewalk. Can you please put that paragraph under sidewalks? That's a majority of what the changes were. We did make a couple small changes. We decided to go with a red hydrant. We've been painting the hydrants every year, red, and we had yellow in our public works design standards, so we changed it to red and the curb to be a specific red color. I mean, it's just trying to keep consistent with everything that we're doing. So I think Kirsty included all the redlined items in your guys' packet. So again, you guys can see that the changes are just minor in language and
I don't see. any
procedural. So,
Anything.
oh, you didn't have
There's
anything?
nothing.
No.
Part of
Okay.
what was emailed to
Oh,
you.
emailed, I didn't print that out.
These are
The
the
Public
items.
Works Design Standards is a few hundred pages long. So
Okay.
you
Yeah.
kind of electronic.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because the changes, they're bulleted here. There's only, I think, like 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to highlight like besides the paragraphs that got moved from a section to another section, I highlighted in the staff report the actual changes that we made to the public works design standards. So, and as an annual thing, it comes before council to approve, and we make a resolution and adopt the new standards. So, but happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions. I read what was in the physical packet, the bullet points. Does anyone else have any questions?
I just read this. I didn't read that. I didn't.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the updates to the 2025 Public Works Design Standards as presented by staff.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Moving on to six B. Resolution 2-02-25 establishing water and sewer rates.
You guys notice I always get the controversial action items before council. I always
You just
the
get to
short
present
straw
them. We
for
have to
some.
vote on them. I don't know what's worse.
Because we like Matt better.
I think he's happy with the ones that he presents. So before you tonight is our 2025 utility rate resolution as directed by council to prepare. In the resolution, there are 2 increases. One is a 3% increase proposed in water, which is our typical inflationary increase. Sometimes we go 4 or 5, sometimes we go less. Just depends on what's needed for that particular fund. And then the sewer increase, of course, we've been working on the new wastewater project for a few years now. And one of the things that we've been able to do is acquire quite a few grants, just under $19 million, I believe it is, or just over $19 million in grants. It's a $28.5 million project is the estimates. At one point, we had anticipated sewer rates going up by $150 to $180 had we not been able to get any specific funding or grants. In addition to those grants, we were able to leverage some long-term low-interest loans through USDA as part of the work we've been doing the last few years. Which leaves us with about $9 million in debt. We had a company called FCS come in and do a comprehensive rate study. We wanted to outsource that. So to a company that really could dial in expected O&M, current operations, current debt, and get us a really good solid number. So we weren't either under projecting or over projecting. And according to their rate analysis, we would need to raise our sewer rate $35.21 plus the annual cost of living or inflationary adjustment. Before you tonight, staff has opted to round that number to $36, which is about a $2 reduction from if we had added the full inflationary cost. And we've done that just based on where our anticipated performance is in our forecasting model. So we've made some manual adjustments to lower that number down a couple of dollars. And so we've just rounded that to $36. We've done advertisement throughout the community at events. We've sent notices in the utility bills. I think we've published an article in the newsletter. I don't know how many times, but probably the last 6 months it's been in every newsletter, I believe. And of course, council went door to door. At one point, it got members of the community to sign petitions, educating them on the project and also our efforts to leverage grants, which turned out to be really a successful effort because we were able to leverage an extra $5 million in state grants by doing that, and along with some other items. Council's also asked us to look at how do we do equalization to the utility rate program, and we'll probably look into this more in depth as we move forward. We've studied that a few times, and one of the recommendations, or one of the recommended courses that we came up with was to continue the senior discount, but not add people to that. We're starting to get almost as many people connected on the discounted rate as the regular rate. And the problem with it is that inflates the regular rate for those who don't qualify for the discount. So part of this resolution is simply to pause that program while we study it further. Although those people that are currently on it will continue to receive their discount. We don't want to take anything away from the current discount holders. Happy to answer any questions if you have any clarifying question, but I think it's fairly straight.
I do. So under the senior citizen discount program, I know that we had a robust discussion. The way that the resolution reads, it's so right now it's on a percentage. It says the senior citizen discount program will be discontinued for new customers as of June 1st. The existing customers who previously qualified for the discount will continue receiving the benefit. The discussion that we had, was having it at a set rate as what they're getting already.
It's in the resolution.
I don't.
It's in
that part over
No.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that it reads clearly enough so that it says
Yeah.
that they're no longer getting a percentage, but whatever their $24?
$24, yeah.
Yeah, and the resolution and the ordinance doesn't outline any of that. It's strictly however you set that rate.
Okay.
And so we set it at the current rate, which is about $24
And 12 cents or something like that, or
Yeah,
21
it's like
cents.
$24.70
We
maybe.
had rounded it to 12.
Over both
or 24,
utilities.
so.
Yeah, we rounded it. Okay. And then the next thing I had concerns about, and I don't remember in any of the communication that we put to the city, and please correct me if I'm wrong and like refresh my memory, but I have no memory of talking about the additional 3% for the COLA, not COLA, for the rate increase on the water portion of the bill. All our communication has been talked about the sewer increase and $36. So if we add that 3%,
We're not adding it, we're capping it at 36.
No, for the water portion. So this resolution says that we're gonna do $36 increase for the sewer plus the 3% for the water.
That's been in the discussions. And in the letters we sent out, it says
Yeah.
this is for the sewer
We
portion.
budget a 3% COLA standard every year. That is it's in the ordinance to budget that way.
I
But
don't-
you have the ability to alter it based on the budget performance and based on your adopted resolution. So in past years, we needed more than
Yeah.
3%. Sometimes we've added more than 3%, sometimes we've added less, but we always start with a 3%, which is what's projected in our forecasting.
So my concern is, so we've talked about a $36 increase to the sewer consistently. I don't feel that we communicated that it would be $36 plus the annual. Like, I knew that we'd be doing the annual percents,
Yeah.
like it would continue happening like maybe next year. But I don't think that we communicated that
Well, they're
it's,
two separate utilities.
but the city.
It was in the letter that I got with my water bill.
We have communicated it. We communicated every year. The expectation is our target is a 3% utility increase. We communicate that to customers all the time. So it's communicated throughout the
I don't
year.
check the water bill.
But the letter was in there and it does state water is increasing this amount and sewer. is
We did
increasing
send a
this
note.
amount.
So what is the total?
Well, they're two separate utilities. So on the rate spreadsheet, they're broken up. And
It
so.
was like $1 or something.
So your
Is it
domestic,
$1.54,
your
right?
domestic water
like
is
that.
51.30.
Okay, so 3% of 51.30 is $1.53.9, so it would round up,
This includes that already.
that includes that already.
These are the new rates we're setting.
I'm just worried because the average person in the community views it as one bill. I understand it's a separate bill. We have 3 bills on there right now. We have the safety fee, we have the water, we have the sewer. Those are all separate bills. The average person in the community looks at that as one utility bill, and we've talked about a $36 increase. So the last thing I want is for community members to come back and say we gaslighted them and it's not $36. It's going to be $37 or $38. That is what I'm worried about. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same concerns. I wasn't expecting that to be added on to it. I was all along have been in favor of an incremental increase and not hitting the 36 all at once. I understand we have to get there at some point. But I'm not in favor of adding another 33% on. I just don't think it's a good time. So
But that's for the water. It's not for the sewer.
I know what it's for.
Okay.
I know what it's for.
But the water still has bills that have.
It's
to be
increases
paid.
and increase. And that's what I'm concerned about. It's too many increases all at once. We seem to be increasing.
Did we decide we're doing it all at
once?
once, right? Is that?
Yeah.
We
did
are
fully
That was
decide
what
that?
the majority.
By $36. It doesn't matter if it's a separate bill. We are increasing the bill by $36 and the public sees it. You can
That's
keep
what
on
we've
talking
said.
about it being the water bill. You can keep on talking about it being the sewer bill. It's still one bill that has to be paid and it's being increased by $36. That's what the mayor is trying to make a point of.
I will say that we have done our due diligence. We have communicated that to the community, and I understand that it comes on one bill. But we can't shift money from one fund to another fund. So if you reduce your revenue by 3%, in the water fund will be at whatever performance level that is with 3% less, which is not how we budgeted. And that's strictly up to you guys. The resolution as we presented it is how we were instructed to present it from council.
I don't support it unless it's separated out and we can revisit another increase at some point, but I think too much is too much. Said we were going to do the 36 and I don't know that people, maybe they got in the letter. I don't know that they understand that.
I would have to go check.
It's separate on the resolution.
No,
This is water.
I can
I'm
see
talking
that.
about just the basic communications, to the community and what we've been preparing them for.
I have one more question with this. I think that if we're going to discontinue the senior discount, it should be discontinued at the time that we sign this. Otherwise, you're going to have.
You can make that in your motion and that's how we'll implement it.
Yeah, you're probably right? You get 3 weeks of.
I would.
You say it's almost 50-50? No, excuse me.
No, I think the last time I checked, it was about, I think somewhere between 30 and 35%.
Getting it.
But it's etching up there,
Right,
you know.
Right, right.
I know it's a pretty high percent. I think Doug's correct that we should probably change the effective date of the discontinuation of the senior program on this.
You could just make it in your motion. The rates go into effect June 1st, but in your motion, you could amend it to say,
So there's right now, I was gonna say, right now, there's three of us who are unclear on the 3%.
I mean, probably what I would do if you're looking to reduce it, is I would probably reduce the sewer fee by 3%. That this is where we're targeted, but remember, we haven't built a facility yet. You might have to play a little catch up at some point in the future, but that is a little bit more flexible than the water. I would be concerned about without understanding the impact. Right now, the water fund looks good and it looks sustainable, but it's sustainable because we programmed these increases in over time. So my preference would be, you reduce the sewer and if we need to catch up with that, we can catch up. That's one of the reasons we erred on reducing the sewer 3% and not adding that to that, was because we felt we had some flexibility there. We heard some council, lean towards incremental increases, even though we were directed to bring one increase by council's input. And so we were yielding that way. So you certainly could reduce it. And basically your motion would be, you would approve it as amended. And you would amend it with whatever your action would be.
I was sure that we were always talking about a 3%. And I actually thought that was great, considering they built a brand new tower and got it online, and they're only having to bring that one up 3%. So I thought I was pretty sure that it was 36 and 3%.
And keep in mind, there's still lots of challenges. We just had that presentation on the current, the existing million-gallon reservoir, and the improvements that's going to be required. One of council's project goals is to implement the live reads system that we have. One is to try to maintain the system without overstressing our staffing. So it's to use technology to lower some of that work that we have to do manually. But the second thing is that's a great customer service tool that can save them a lot of money, because we can instantly tell if they have leaks or if they're high users, what time it's being used. That information isn't available instantly currently, so it can save consumers money on that end. And then the third thing is it's a tool to conserve water. So we're not wasting water. If we can identify high use areas, we can go in. So you've got those projects, you've got, I can't off the top of my head think of all the projects, but we've got a whole bunch of water projects. That's why I think right now we're focused on the wastewater. Mayor, I agree, we probably could have blasted out more about the upcoming COLA. It is out there, but we were so concerned about this large increase with sewer. We wanted to make sure we got that message out there. So my recommendation is, if you decide to alter the rate, do it in the sewer at this point.
So we could propose the sewer at 34 and the water increase at 3.
You can propose it wherever you like. We just have a target from an analysis, but you could certainly put it, you could say these rates minus $2 in all sewer, and we'll amend the resolution and get the mayor to sign it.
We just gave Republic 20-something% without this much discussion at all. I mean, that just hit my bill. or a
Oh,
bigger
I
number,
discussed
3%, but that
That's
was a pretty big
different-
increase.
That is a different.
And we didn't send out any notices. We didn't push it to the community, and Republic just came in here and walked in and got 23%.
That is
We
a
did
different,
discuss it.
It's totally different. I get
It's
it.
a
And I opposed
franchise.
it.
I did too. It was two of us. You know, we didn't, it was, I just saw that hit my bill and I thought, oh my gosh, and this is a 3%.
That's
which is
why-
$1.50.
So that's a franchise, which is totally different set of rules and regulations. This is like, Ron just stated really clearly, he, you know, I don't think we did enough communication about the additional 3%. And I think, you know, three of us saying, this isn't, we weren't expecting this, or it's not okay. I mean, that's enough to, for me to question.
Yeah.
The impact.
Well, just to correct that, we've discussed it at council meetings multiple times. So we've discussed the 3% water increase. In fact, I brought it up at the last council meeting, how we were preparing the resolution. And we didn't do, it's not that we didn't do enough. We did as much as we typically would do for this annual increase, but we were more focused on doing more information out on the sewer. So I mean, I just want to make sure that we're representing it correctly.
Okay.
We did as much as we always do. We did not underrepresent the 3%, in my opinion, but we did overrepresent the $36.
Just kind of overshadowed the other one probably.
Well, I want to say that I was thinking the 3% increase in the water and the 36, which I would prefer, just to get it in my budget so I know where I am, because I don't want to have to think down the line it's going to go up again, and well, how much is it now? And so the 3%, 36 is fine with me as written.
So where do we stand? I know, on this motion on how we want to move forward. We have a couple things out there. One of them is amending the way that the senior citizen, program is sunsetting the effective date. Amending that, okay. Effective today. Okay,
Well, I'm
Okay.
certainly prepared to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Scott.
I can't hear you, Walter.
I'm sorry, I said I agree with amending the senior citizen discount to discontinuing it tonight. Or tomorrow, whatever.
Whenever signed.
okay. And then, on the 3% increase, where are we landing? Are we gonna keep it as is and vote on it? Did you guys want to make a modification?
I'm willing to make a motion that we keep the 3%, change the 36 to 34, and make the change that we just discussed in the senior citizen discount, making it effective when signed.
Again,
So, could I?
I don't think that was
ask
an
just for
official
some
motion.
clarification?
Yes, it was.
it was a motion.
Oh, you said you were willing to.
Well, I just did it and he seconded. it.
Okay.
So, could the motion simply be to, accept resolution, 0225 amended by, making the senior program, suspension, starting today, and in the sewer service charges under residential, lowering those rates by $2.
Yes, do you want me to restate it? So I move to approve the resolution 02-25 establishing water and sewer rates of the city of Aumsville as amended by changing the senior discount to be effective when the ordinance is signed, as well as amending the fixed $36 rate to a fixed $34 rate.
I have to say for residential.
Or resident,
or resident.
Four.
or residential, but this doesn't say for residential.
Oh, it's because that's the rate you're changing.
Okay, for residential. That's the only one with the fixed rate, right?
Yeah.
Okay, does that work?
And we just might have to make up for it down the road, that other $2, $1.62 or whatever it works out to be.
We might, but Ron was saying.
We
that
won't know. It could go
There's
down.
there's some wiggle room because we haven't started
Could
building.
go down, maybe.
And I
Um,
can go over more about what that landscape looks like with the projected forecast model tomorrow.
I'll second that so we can.
Okay, yeah, so yes, so Walter seconded it and now we can open up for discussion.
Oh, is that how that works? No
Yeah, that's
discussion
how it
before
works.
this- Okay.
I mean, in Robert Rules of Order, yeah, so usually there's a motion, then there's second, then
And
there's
discussion?
discussion. Yeah,
Okay.
we usually do discussion and then we do the motion, we kind of go backwards.
Okay.
But to answer your question, it would, according to the administrator, there's some wiggle room because we haven't started building. So,
Building the reserve up.
so are there any further questions or discussion on this motion?
Got it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No.
All those opposed? Oh, Della, did you vote? Oh, all those opposed?
No.
Katie, did you vote?
I did. I voted for.
Voted
Aye.
yes.
Yay.
Okay, so motion passes with 5 in favor and 2 opposed. Okay, do I have to read this?
What is it?
The actual resolution? Oh, okay.
He's very careful. Let me see it before I answer it.
Do I have to? I appreciate the in-deal discussion, guys. Our community has been hit really hard with inflation and budget cuts and everyone raising their rates. So we were just talking, I'm gonna cry.
Well, honestly,
know,
I would love to vote
I,
no on, I'd love to vote no on everything too, but I mean, I know we've got to pay for this system. We have to have our matching funds. We have to do something.
Well, and we have a lot of challenges that get more and more costly as time goes on, and we'll have to, I mean, citizens will have to pay for some of those challenges. That's just the way utility works. I would like to say though, starting this effort back in 2017, I don't think I could have imagined that we would have been as successful as a group as we were to leverage the resources that we leveraged as a small town. What we've done here to try to unburden the residents for this state mandate, this wasn't our initiative, is really nothing short of remarkable. And I credit council for your proactiveness, but I also credit our staff. Everybody was working for every angle or advantage we could get to be able to lower that burden on to the residents. And I know it's not zero effect on the residents, but boy, I tell you, we met them 2/3 of the way in leveraging resources. And I'm just really proud of the work that we've done. Also, you know, during the last few years from COVID forward, the statewide inflationary rate was huge. And there were some years it was 14%. Franchise, electric companies, garbage services, they've all raised their rates 20, 30, 40%. We have not done that. We have stuck to around a 3% increase. And we've looked for ways to trim costs to be able to do that and give money back. We have not spent money unless it was absolutely necessary. And I'm just really proud of that work because not all cities would manage their utilities with the mindset of the end user as diligently as we've done that.
And I don't mean to diminish the work that the council and the staff have done. It feels like we could always do more, right?
What would it be if it was 180 or $200?
I know,
Oh my
I know.
gosh, what kind of discussions we'd be having now? I mean, it would be people looking to move out of Aumsville over that. So the work you guys did, it helped. 36 sucks, but
Absolutely.
I know. It's just a lot, right? Moving on to city administrator report. Ron?
Well, I don't have a great report for you today. I'm
going home.
We have guests here.
A great report or a big report?
a lengthy
We
report.
want
let's
Craig
say
to come
that.
back in more meetings, right? So
I'm just gonna say that.
I'm already crying, Ron. Let's not.
The police report and the public works report is in your packet. I sent my written report to council, which just talked about our superhero carnival event. It's a free event for the community. It has nothing to do with any utility rates. We pay for that completely separate from unrestricted dollars. And we do those events because we want people to have fond memories growing up here in our community. And there's a lot of families that don't leverage the resource to be able to go out and do paid events. And so we try to do, most of our events are free. And I'd love to get council again to sign up this year. I know you guys always do a booth, but the more the merrier. And if you want a superhero costume, tell me what your size is. And I'll try to find you one, or you could pick one out, however you want to do that.
Can I have a cape that says Madam Mayor?
You can make your own superhero costume. We tell all the kiddos when they're playing that use their superpowers, and they're all superheroes, and for being in our community.
Walter,
Make sure there's lots of plates again.
I got you lots of plates. Yep, you're all set, Walter. And then I did want to revisit staff COLAs this year. I did send an email out so that you had no surprise on it. When typically what happens for us is we have a staff committee that's kind of like a bargaining group. It's not a union. We just started it so that staff had a voice, and we let them research COLAs, and we give them some parameters, and we want them to come to the conclusion that we're paying fair wages and benefits. So they do comparisons every 3 years. And so for the budget preparation, I came forward and talked to council about our COLA currently is at 4%. One of the agreements that we have with our group is that unless the CPI or COLA changes more than 1%, that we just leave it as it is, and then it'll catch up either up or down. This year it was kind of an unusual case because CPI dropped fairly rapidly from last January to this January. It did some up and downs, but it did make a fairly dramatic drop. And if you use CPI as a basis, we have not crossed the 1% threshold. However, when I was talking to staff at our all staff meeting, they relayed to me that they felt we should be using the COLA that council set, not CPI, which then does drop more than 1%, because we typically round up or round down. We try to give a little advantage to the staff because we want to keep people. So we always want to be a little above the norm. However, in this case, they went back and did some research, and they came back and said they felt 3% would be fair if council so chose to change the COLA. Now, we didn't vote on it. It wasn't a citywide staff vote. This was just the committee that works on those things. And
Who's the committee?
yeah,
Who is the committee? You don't have to give us their names, but I mean,
Matt, you wanted 3 instead of 4?
yeah.
there's one from police.
Yeah, we
Public
do
Works,
one from police,
City
one
Hall.
from City Hall, and one from Public Works. And the idea, like Ron said, is, Public Works is maybe requests on some years, maybe a little bit different than the police departments, and City Hall's request may be a little bit different if they've done their survey and they see the City Hall staff's maybe lower than Public Works. It gives everyone a chance to talk, or I know there's been some changes at City Hall for people's titles and that sort of thing. So when you're trying to do comparisons, it's easier for folks at City Hall to make those comparisons for City Hall staff than it is for someone from Public Works to try to say what Ron does, or, so.
So it's 3 employees, not you, Ron, and,
Right.
okay.
And it's,
Not 3 supervisors or 3 managers. It's
no,
3
it's
employees.
3 employees,
There's no
and then,
supervisors.
yeah, and we just take what our group says. Public Works is like, man, we feel like we're getting paid pretty well, so whatever is plugged into the budget, then that's what we come back with.
We just wanted to give council the option. I don't think either one is going to have a major impact. The difference between 3 and 4 across all of our budgets it's a small number. It's a few $1,000s on a fund, depending on the fund. It's not a lot of money, but because you did set it, even though they came back and talked about a different number, I didn't feel like I could change it arbitrarily without a discussion. And I also didn't feel like I could leave it without a discussion. So I felt like it just needed to come back.
When did we set it?
Well, we didn't really set it. We didn't get a motion or anything. It was just council. In pre-budget preparation, we
Like a
talked
year
about
ago?
a target.
No,
2 years ago or 10?
I think it was February.
it was,
Okay.
yeah, we were just talking about it.
I just don't remember.
And when did we do the last COLA or the last survey? It was 2 years ago. And that's kind of where we came up with the formula that we would try to stick to a standard COLA. That way it's easy for
It's easy to
City
budget.
Hall
Yeah.
and council to see that budget effect every single year, as opposed to going way up and down.
Yeah, like I say, one way or the other, I don't think this decision is going to impact us majorly, but because staff was willing to take a little lower COLA, I wanted, at least the committee sanctioned a little lower COLA. It hasn't been we didn't go out and vote on it. We don't do it. Typically, you set it. So based on their recommendation.
So what is the difference? Do you know what it would be?
I think it's per fund or citywide.
Just citywide.
It's a little less than $20,000 through all of our funds. So it's going to hit probably 5 or 6 operating funds. So you could divide that up.
So which one is 20,000?
So that's
Or the
across.
3?
That's all of them.
The
Together.
20,000 is the difference between 3 and 4.
Okay.
Are you looking for a recommendation on this right now?
Yes. Because
And it
you
needs
have
it for
you
tomorrow
have a
night.
budget meeting tomorrow.
I would love to hear everyone else's first. I work in a labor friendly industry, so I open it up to council. We have Walter saying 4,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, make it a little,
Greg saying 4.
I think they work hard enough to deserve it.
I think it was a reverse tactic, so we didn't bring it down to 3.
Yeah,
I think is what happened.
I hate to say it, but I don't care what the committee says. I think they need 4.
There you go.
Scott,
No comment.
you have no comment? Okay. It looks like the majority of the council is agreeable to 4.
We don't need a formal motion.
The
We'll
consensus.
we'll move forward with that as a consensus. Basically, you already did sanction it, so we don't need to unsanction it.
Right.
re-sanction it.
We're not changing it.
We're not changing anything. I am proud of the staff.
Only
though,
because Matt asked.
I will say the staff committee really did, they self-reflect on that and they wanted to make sure that they put council in the best position possible. So I appreciate them doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate them doing that as well. And I appreciate them having the best interests of the city in mind, but I think we need to keep their best interest in mind. And if we can do it, I think we should. want to save our employees.
Agree. I think they work very hard. I think they have it coming.
You got to speak into the mic.
Hug that thing.
I agree. I think they have it coming. I think they work very hard.
Okay, is there anything else for your report, Ron?
Ooh,
Ron?
no, he said no.
Nothing, okay.
Said yeah.
No, sorry.
I was looking down, sorry. Okay, moving on to mayor and council reports. Does anyone have anything to report?
Don't.
I spent some time with the migrant education program this week, which is part of the school district. They were planning a list of activities and things for next year. One of the things they brought up was having they have meetings every week, but they have monthly meetings for the whole program. Is having another city day, specifically with the police department and talking about code changes. That was one of the list of possibilities. They also expressed possibly coming forward at a future date to talk about a cultural event on the calendar. And I gave them some advice on how to make a presentation.
I mean, a cultural event for the city to host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
They can just come to
multicultural.
one of our planning meetings.
That's what I told them.
Yeah.
I told them to come to the planning meetings.
Yeah.
And then I believe we had a couple counselors attend the spring conference as well.
It was good. It was
Very
good.
good.
Really opened our eyes that Aumsville doesn't have the problems that all these other cities have. We're in pretty good shape. In, what was it, Lakeview, Lakeside? What's that one just north of where you get to Reed Fork? They don't even have police. They don't have anybody who can enforce codes. They've just got a free for all going on. And you start sitting networking with other council from these other cities, like, wow,
They have a population
very small. Yeah,
very small.
very
but
small.
When it's tourist season, it's like almost double, a little over doubled.
40 minutes to get, emergency happens, 40 minutes to get a cop there. They're looking at, well, what do you say, 150,000 annually to have sheriff present. I think we're in good shape here. We'll be happy with, we got the wastewater things going, but at networking with people at the conference, at spring conference, it was
I do encourage you guys to go.
shape.
We're fortunate to have a budget to do that. There are some that cities that don't have budgets. The LOC offers scholarships for stuff like that, but they're great training opportunities, and I learned a lot. And you do learn a lot in those networking sessions. I think that's where I learned most of the things that I've picked up on.
It was good. Long drive. And then Cascade varsity baseball had a game there Saturday at Marshfield. So I drove to Coos Bay twice, last weekend and this weekend.
I will not be attending the OMA, the LOC's OMA conference this year. It is during Corn Festival.
Ooh.
So I believe the mayor should be in town during Corn Festival and not at a conference in Baker City. But I do want to let you know that is on my bucket list. They have a haunted hotel. But I was. See, I want to go.
see it.
Oh my gosh, I want. Yeah, so I'm not gonna go.
Beautiful hotel, but I think all the mayors should change their date because it's Columbus.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or they could host their mayor's conference in Aumsville
During the Corn Festival.
during the Corn Festival.
When we get that done.
And we could haunt City Hall.
There's a lot of that hotel is actually on a haunted Oregon tour that you can self-tour that you can take. And I've been wanting to go to it for years,
It's a
but
beautiful hotel. It's a beautifully restored hotel. It is. But I didn't see any ghosts.
is there anything for good of the order? Nothing for good of the order. I don't have any correspondence listed. Oh, good of the order. There is something for good of the order. After council, we are going to be honoring Council President Doug Cox. It's his birthday month. This is a practice that we used to do pre-COVID. We would send staff our favorite dessert, and sometime during the month we have of your birthday, we would do like cookies or your favorite dessert. So congratulations, Doug. You're the first one after COVID to do this.
Did you squeak in for the senior discount just in time today? Gotta hurry up and get, Ron's here, open for business.
Just a little clarification on your motion for that discount. Am I to approve applications that arrived today? But I
It's
didn't
effective.
approve them yet?
Date and time that the resolution is signed.
Technically, yes. 'Cause
Yeah.
Until I sign it, that
Did you
was
get them?
Until
Today?
you sign it. So technically
the ones that came in today.
I can sign and then.
You got some today?
How many did you get?
We did get a few.
Today?
I
They
mean,
probably saw the packet
I'm not
online.
surprised. You're
Um,
looking at that, but they don't come to your town halls?
There is nothing in correspondence and we have no executive session, so we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 8:05 PM.